Hey guys, it's Melissa. So to all my followers, right? I'm going to try to make it an effort of myself to everyday post. Everything I learn, I'm going to tell y'all. I'm going to communicate everything that I know to y'all. Because mental health is not something that happens sporadically or you get a message every 2 or 3 days. No. This is an everyday work in progress stuff. So that means every day you have to be working on yourself. When I mean every day, that means every day, every minute, every second. Because when you've been distorted from PTSD, OCD, bipolar, that's a constant battle. And the world told us who we should be, what we shouldn't do, or all this stuff. So they distorted our reality, or maybe your family distorted your reality. I don't know. But we live in a world that is constantly, you can have, I think we all honestly have some type of judgment, but it's the way that you say things. Just because you're not in agreement with something or understand something doesn't give you the right to offend someone. Just because someone's a Christian and someone's a Muslim doesn't mean that the Christian person and Muslim person cannot be friends. We teach this division, you know what I mean? That if you're this and you're that, then we can't coexist. That's not cool, in any way, shape, or form. We need to stop. Differences should be embraced, right? We should learn, even if we don't understand it, we should at least respect it and hear these individuals out. Regardless of what. Or if you can't have a discussion about religion without it being hostile, then don't discuss that with that person. But you should never get into a confrontation with someone over something like that. You should want to study more and be like, you know what, I want to learn more. I may not believe in everything they're saying, but I can study it. I can learn from it, so that way I can learn about those those individuals. We live in such a self-centered, absorbed world in America. And a lot of us have been already conditioned. As we get older as adults, I see so many people. I live in an area that's infested, with drug addicts. It's crazy. Like, these people be like scratching themselves all over, going backwards, and really and this is no joke. I've been exposed to all this type of activities, and we've been taught to desensitize, and that's terrible. We've been taught to don't get too emotionally invested. How can we not when we're humans? When you start to take the emotion component away from a human being, then we're no longer humans. We're just robots, doing what we gotta do because we don't want to get emotionally tied. Or we think that somehow, if someone's gay, that's contagious. No, if someone's gay and they want to be gay, just let them be gay. Doesn't mean that they're going to somehow give you what they got. I'm just where did we get this mentality, some things, yes, you're going to have to be in alignment with. But some differences you don't. Just respect people. Anyway, I don't want to get off too much tangent. But what I wanted to discuss is more so focus on when do you stop trusting yourself is the good question. A lot of people are free as kids. We want to do everything. As kids, we're more open, right? Usually. However, maybe an incident happened. Maybe a person told you something. I don't know. Everyone is different, right? But when do you stop to trust yourself? And that is the scariest feeling. Did someone teach you that, or did an event make you feel like you couldn't trust yourself no more? These are important questions that us as sufferers have to start asking, because what we do, we get obsessed and we get fixated on one thing, that we can't look to the left, we can't look to the right, we can't look up, we can't look down. because we're like in constant survival mode. And as long as we're in survival mode, we can't see the bigger picture. Understand? So we as a community of mental health, that mental health is definitely on a rise, we need to stick together. Community is the only way. We're stronger together than we are as individuals. And mental health is on a rise. I see it every day. You know, like a lot of it's as if as we get older, it's like a lot of us are regressing. And we're only regressing because of our childhood trauma or something that's happened to us. And we can have 100, 200 millions of good events, but we stay focused on that one negative or two negative events. You have to question that, like, why is my brain taking me back there? And it's not even your brain, your body is the one that reverses time. So now we have to start living in the present and start building our future. But a lot of us haven't even been taught to create our future. We've been taught just from what our family knows. And I don't know about you all as a family, but I come from an urban background. Whereas though my grandmother wasn't educated. My mother only finished the 10th grade. And I went on to go to college. I'm even working on my master's. And it's like, what do I do next? Hold up, where do I go at? Isn't even important. Because no one really gave me the tools to go to that next level. So, these are things that, you have to start really self-evaluating and start asking yourself questions. Question yourself. Question yourself. Being like, why do I feel like this? When did I learn not to trust myself? You see, I never had a problem trusting me. I knew exactly who I was for years. Who I am, who I was, and that's what keeps me somewhat grounded as we speak. Because I know it's something bigger in me. We all do. Because we are sensitive. We all feel it. We all have a spiritual connection. But along our path, someone distorted us. You see, I learned not to trust myself when my cousin put me in that traumatic event. Because I was like, something was off. I knew, I can feel it. But I just, when you're so young, you really don't know. And I'm so used to taking responsibility. And like, as kids, we're not responsible for nothing. We are not responsible for any of those things because we're too young to understand. You understand? Like, but we take our responsibilities for everything. And then we start to distort our reality. And then when you start to say what was right, what was wrong, people would tell you it wasn't a big deal. And then you'd be like, well, maybe I'm tripping. We have to learn to listen to ourselves. We have to learn to trust ourselves. We have to learn to put us first. Because being you is what makes you you. And even if it means that you have to lose friends. I lost plenty of friends along my path of journey. And the more I become vocal and the more I become authentic to who I am, the more people I'm losing. And it is sad and it is lonely. But at the same token, if I can't be who I am with my friends, my family, then that's not being true to me. And if they are your friends or family like they say they are, they're going to encourage you to be who you are. People are going to encourage you. Whether they like it or they're going to be like, that's just that person. And that's okay. But when people try to tell you or try to correct you from being you, then that's a problem. I mean, I'm not saying people that's like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're, like, doing something super bad, that's different. But I'm just saying, like, if you, like, we want to encourage self-expression. Whatever that looks like to that person. But we all have been taught, a different way. And I hope as we continue to discover mental health with one another, that we learn to trust ourselves more. That's important. And really think about, when do you learn not to trust yourself? that you no longer trust your mind, you no longer trust your body, that you're like always in a frantic, because that's how I am. And I'm learning, like, you know how many times I put myself in situations that I know I could have did something, and I didn't. Like, you know, it was plenty of times that I can prove. I got millions of events that I can trust myself. But I focused on the one time that I couldn't. So that's something for me to think about. And I want y'all to think about that too. You know, because we have to get to a place where we are, our bodies in that equilibrium, and we can trust ourselves and not allow other forces, whether it's a trauma event or whether it's a person, to question and doubt who we are, because that's what's happening. We're not doubting who we are by ourselves. We doubting ourselves by society standards, our family standards, or what others may think. We doubting ourselves because of a trauma that, you know, we didn't know how to respond, or an event that we couldn't understand. So, or a person. Just because a person did something to you, whether it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, doesn't mean that you're going to turn around and do it to others. It does not mean that. If you do not heal, of course, that can possibly happen, because it happened to me in regards to other instances. But because it's been programmed, we have to learn to be ourselves. And regardless of people do stuff to us, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't give us the right of passage to do the same to others. And it doesn't even matter, and we may not even want to. You know, because we take on other people's characteristics because they bring that energy to us. You know, so we have to learn to differentiate our energy from their energy. Because who they are should not matter who you are. You understand? This is my quick message. Just really take time to process and evaluate. When do you learn not to trust yourself? Really, you know, think about that. And I hope that these videos are helping y'all and coping. Continue to meditate. What I do, I'm going to tell you about self-healing takes coping mechanism, not just information. We all need coping mechanism. I'm starting to stretch. So stretching your body is really good for your blood flow and getting things going and moving. And if you work at a desk job like me, I'm always like now like moving, because I know how important it is for me to move. Because if I'm not moving, my body starts to stiff up, and it takes me back to that time. So always stay moving. If that's what you gotta do, figure it out. You know, but as together we can always, you know, we can learn from one another. You know, and that's what I want this to be. You know, that we're learning different coping mechanisms from one another, that we're growing educationally, that we're finding alternative without having to take these meds. You know, if you gotta take meds, of course take the meds. But if we can find other alternative ways of self-healing ourselves, that is what we need to do for the generation before us, and even for our parents. So I hope this message was useful. I'm actually going to be more proactive and giving out message every day. I used to think, oh, is it that much stuff to talk about? It really is. It's so much to talk about. Like, it's never not enough to talk about. Okay? So definitely, like, let's continue this going. I'm gonna be more proactive as in getting these messages out, even little quick 5-minute videos if it's just 5 minutes. Okay? Later, guys. Please let me know your thoughts.